Hello, and welcome to University of New Haven and our virtual open house. And my name is Tim Pombuck. I'm chair of the Forensic Science Department and a professor here. I've been here for about 9 years. And today I'd like to spend some time telling you about our college and what is it about the Henry Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Science that makes us great and definitely makes it worth you considering coming here. First of all, this is a big part of what the school does. This is kind of our roots in our history. If you go back 50 years and look at what started UNH, we've very much been about criminal justice and law enforcement and public service. So we've maintained that over the years, and it's really our strength. If that's an area that interests you, know that you'll be coming to a school where that's really a strength, not just a kind of a major you can pick. It's broken down into different colleges, and I'll spend a little bit of time talking about those. Kind of the big mothership is criminal justice. Although it's a lot more than you would think. It's not just people that want to be cops, although many do, but it's also people who would be involved in victimology, people involved in crime mapping, people involved in forensic psychology, and other subdisciplines. So it's so much of a larger field than I think most of you are aware of. And there's job opportunities in the government and the military, in the private sector, in the social services sector. There's opportunities for research. So it's really very open-ended if any of those areas of investigation or criminal justice or public safety interest you. We also have a whole school dedicated to fire science, fire administration, and fire engineering. And anybody who has any aspirations or interest in the fire services field, you could do it all here. Our fire science program, which is true of all of our programs, is taught by real solid practitioners. Virtually everybody there is chief. They call them chief because they were chiefs. They were past fire chiefs from major cities and major locations. So they have a lot of real experience in addition to their academic degrees. We also have a real new structure on campus, some real advanced burn labs and technology in the fire science program, and particularly the engineering side of it. Also related to that school, we have legal studies, which is preparing people for a variety of careers in the legal disciplines. And many of those kids will go on to law school. Some won't. They'll choose to do paralegal work or investigative legal work. But it's a great background in the law as an undergraduate degree program. We also have new programs launching in paramedicine, which is again closely related to the fire disciplines, but it's a career track unto its own. I'm also in we have a national security program as well. Hot topic right now. It's not only a hot topic because it's really interesting, but it's really relevant. Everything that goes on, not only in Bourne's movies, but in what you see on CNN and Fox News and all the other networks across the covering all the terrorism and Syria and all these other concerns, really are very dependent on national security issues and intelligence issues and analyst issues. And so we have a real robust program in that area as well. Some of those kids will be in the military, some won't. Some will be in private sector, some will be in research. Speaking of the military, we have a great ROTC program on campus. And for a lot of the kids, particularly those in criminal justice, it's a great mixture to be part of the military, part of the ROTC, a very, very well-renowned military program, and then as criminal justice as well. Finally, we get to forensic science, kind of my passion, and we train the lab people. We work to make people be DNA analysts, firearms examiners, drug analysts, and we have virtually graduates in every lab in the U.S. and overseas as well. We also have an advanced investigation degree at the graduate level, but the undergraduate level, the crime scene people take on a role in criminal justice called investigative services. So there's actually a degree within criminal justice for those of you who are more the crime scene type, who see yourself not necessarily with the lab coat, but out in the field. So bottom line, there's so much to offer here. This is the right place to be. All the faculty are highly committed professionals. Many of us are still involved in casework. I myself am on a sabbatical period here, and I'm spending my time overseas. And I'm in the field with undercover investigative teams, and we're combating human trafficking. My piece is I'm adding DNA analysis to human trafficking. So we're in some of the craziest countries you can imagine. And that's the norm. That is the norm for what we do here. The good news for you guys is we bring those experiences back. You get to hear firsthand what this is about. And in many cases, through the internship programs, which are a huge part of what we do, you actually get to participate and go to some of these places and do some of these kind of crazy things. Many of these locations you're going to see are overseas. So we'll have kids that are going to Italy, Vietnam, Russia, China, Australia. It's a long list of places where you can go for academic studies and internships and really broaden your horizon and round out your experience here. So that's the basic overview of our program. I'll talk later on about we'd love to see you here on campus. We'd like to meet with you personally. We'd like to have you at an open house or some of our events. Let you meet the faculty. Let us talk to you about our research. Let us introduce you to our students. And by the way, it's a pretty awesome campus too. I think you'll really enjoy it here. All right, I'm going to move over now and spend some time talking about criminal justice and forensic science, but more specifically about the forensic science program, which is what I chair. Again, there is sometimes a little bit of a disconnect, and people wonder what's the difference between CSI or CSI real. And pieces of CSI are real, but there's really three different jobs there. You have your detectives, who are really people coming out of criminal justice disciplines. You have the crime scene people, which for us are people that are, and we call the investigative services program. And they go out to the crime scene, collect the evidence, take the photographs, and then they work closely with people in the lab who are actually going to do the analysis. So what I'm about to talk about now is, in fact, a lab component. It is a very science-laden degree. And so, as you see on the slide, these are important questions to ask yourself. First of all, do you like science? That's really important that you do. Second of all, do you like to solve puzzles? Do you like, are you detail-minded? Are the little facts, do they interest you? Or do they frustrate you? If they frustrate you, then probably not the right job for you. Are you observant, well-organized, methodical? Do you pay attention to the details? All really key characteristics, although if you saw my desk, not necessarily organized, so maybe you don't have to have all these attributes, but you have to be methodical for sure, and you have to pay attention to detail, and you have to be logical in your thinking. Am I a patient person? Wow, I'm not so sure I am, but I think it would be helpful because this is stressful, strenuous work. It takes a lot of focus. Unlike CSI, we don't solve a case in 20 minutes. It can take weeks, months sometimes. So patience is unfortunately a necessary virtue. What's important? What can you do to make yourself a good candidate for us to consider you for admissions? Because we are competitive for sure, but more importantly for your success. You know, we're not going to admit you unless we think you can succeed. And once we have admitted you, you're going to see that we're going to do everything in our power to make you succeed. Our goal is to get you out of here in 4 years and have an awesome career in forensic science. But bottom line, in high school, we'd love you to take a full year of chemistry with a lab, a full year of biology with a lab. If you have physics, that's great. If not, it's okay. It would be important, but not nearly as important as biology and chemistry. Math, get yourself as far as you can. Math may not be as entertaining as science. Certainly for me it wasn't. I spent a lot of time getting C's in calculus in college. I'm not proud of that, but it's the truth. But you have to do it, and interestingly enough, math is a pretty good predictor for sciences. So if we're looking at somebody with great skill and strength in math, then more often than not they're going to be strong in the sciences as well. Ideally, we'd love to see you take calculus at the high school level, but I think really minimally you should be pre-calculus, and you should do well in the maths if you can at all do it. Okay. Things that, look at, this goes not only for forensic science majors, this is for all of you in any of these disciplines, whether it be fire science, criminal justice, national security. You need to be ethically strong, moral, sound, responsible people. And it's not to say that some of those in our liberal arts programs are not those, but their job isn't dependent on that. Yours is. A breach in some of these areas means you're not going to get a job, or you may find yourself out of work. I would say if you have any question about what we mean by drug history, go to federal job website, federaljobs.gov. Look up drug use policies, and you can read a long document. The bottom line is drug use is a problem, and they look back 10 years in many cases. So you really cannot have that be part of your lifestyle. alcoholism, drunk driving arrests, criminal infractions. They're a problem. They are a problem. They're viewed as a problem in your integrity and your responsibility. So you cannot do that. Who you associate with, your financial responsibility are other key factors. Social media. Oh, please, please. These Facebook accounts are going to kill you. I don't even know what to say, but you know what I'm saying. Those inappropriate, if your mom and dad shouldn't see those photographs, we shouldn't see them either. And there are organizations out there that archive and gather all this information about you from these social media, and even if you delete it later on, it doesn't mean it's gone. And I know you've heard that, but I'm now telling you that there will be consequences if you don't keep it clean starting now. Okay. So let's talk about our curriculum. If you're at University of New Haven, because we're a regionally accredited university and nationally recognized university, part of your undergraduate education is a really sound overall education, and that'll include courses in English and math and the social sciences, philosophy, history, art, music, and theater. They're called the core curriculum. Any competent, well-known and accredited university will require these courses. So if they don't, then you really are going and getting really not a true undergraduate education. So these are important. The good news is that many of these courses now can be fulfilled by taking courses that are correlated, that actually have maybe a social justice or criminal justice flair to them. So at the same time you're fulfilling some of these core requirements, you're actually taking a course you're interested in. If you're in the honors program or have a shot at being in the honors program, many of these core courses can be your honors courses, and many of them are team taught interdisciplinary. So for example, I teach a course with a kind of a 60s throwback film producer. I love the guy. We get along great, but we couldn't be any more opposite in a lot of ways. And we show film, and we talk about things like mafia and the JF Kennedy assassination, and I talk about the science and the investigative side, and he talks about the social norms and why we did what we did and why things happened. And it's a really good, provocative, interesting class. It's probably one of my favorite classes to teach, and all the students really enjoy this kind of a banter. So you'll get good opportunity to do some really interesting stuff, particularly if you can be in the honors program. And for that, obviously, you need some strong grades and strong SAT scores. Contact your admissions counselor; they'll give you more information about that. But a good option if you have it available to you. So who are we? Hey, we're one of the original 6 schools in forensic science. You're in the midst of this search. You're looking at programs all across the country. There's nearly 500 of them. What's good, what's bad? I'm pretty picky. I'd say 95% of them I wouldn't go to, and I wouldn't tell you to go to. There's a handful that are. So what are the key features for those that you would go to, you should go to? Look for the ones that have been around a long time. They got history. They have curriculum development. They place their graduates in laboratories. They have the ability to get you key internships. Back in 75, when this real interesting Chinese guy named Henry Lee was finishing his PhD at NYU and under a Nobel laureate, no less, right? And then came over to UNH to start our forensic science program. This was just the one of 6 in the country, and only 4 of those still remain. That's important. Second of all, make sure they're FEPAC accredited. We'll talk about that. But FEPAC is the professional accreditation for forensic science schools. It is hosted by the American Academy of Forensic Science. That's a webpage I direct you to. Take a look at it. It's aafs.org. And then follow the link to FEPAC, and you'll see that University of New Haven is one of the very few elite schools that has both graduate and undergraduate programs that are accredited. So there's only roughly 30-35 programs in the U.S. that meet the standards, very high standard. So that's a absolute must, in my opinion, too. And then look at the faculty. Who are they? What have they done? What have they accomplished? And when you look at this slide with Dr. Lee, this is just a small snapshot of the cases that he's worked on, and certainly he's worked on more of the historic cases, and he's more notable than any of us here. And yes, he's still here, and yes, you'll see him, and yes, you'll get classes and lectures with him. But the other faculty also, have worked on some pretty notable cases and have left a pretty remarkable footprint in the field, and that's really important. You know, it's important to be an academic and a good researcher and skilled, but it's also important to have been out there in the field, in the trenches, doing the work and being known for doing the work, and we pride ourselves in that, and I think for you, that should be important. Here's an example of, we call this the worksheet. So this is your life with us for 4 years, and if you kind of start in the upper left corner and then move across to the right, that's your freshman year, jump down, move across your sophomore year, jump down, move across your junior year, jump down, move across your senior year. You're going to notice that there's some and/ors. Well, you'll find out we have 2 tracks. We have a biology track and a chemistry track. You're going to have to pick one of the 2, and you'll pick it at the end of your freshman year. We'll work with you as advisors, and a little side note, by the way, your advisors will be faculty members, not just some other advising. So we'll work with you directly ourselves, talk to you about your career aspirations or what you want to do, what's best for you, where your strengths are. And then we'll put you in the right track, biology or chemistry, which will change some of your upper level coursework. You'll also notice that your first semester here, you're sitting at 18 credits. That's really heavy, really challenging. We know that. And I'll talk later on about the programs we offer you to make you successful at your first year. But this is tough. I don't want to sugarcoat this. This is a solid, science-based, hard, challenging program. If you endure, and if you get accepted and you're willing to work, we'll give you the resources. You have my word, you'll endure. And at the end of that, you'll enter a career that you'll love. You'll simply love. People that enter a career in forensic science stay there their whole life, and they never grow old or bored with the job. And you know what? In this day and age, not too many people can say that. So it's absolutely worth it. It's just going to be work when you get here. You got to think of yourself as the preeminent students, the engineering type, the pre-med type, the chemical engineering type, the real challenging majors. There we are. One of the programs that we've come up with is if you're if you apply and you're accepted, and then you take something called your placement test, where we take a look at your attributes or your skill possibilities in math and science, and it looks like you're a little rusty, we have something called the Kmf Program, where we actually bring you on campus usually a couple of weeks early, give you refresher courses, get you some tutoring, settle you into college life early, and it's just wildly successful. So it's never been less than 98% success rate, and the students that participate in it not only move on into the normal coursework, they actually tend to excel throughout their other 4 years. And interesting, none of them regret the decision. They're like that, I'm not so sure I want to come to campus early. Then they get here and they go, that was really an awesome idea, and I'm glad I did it. So that's one of our things we can do to help you out as freshmen. Other thing we can do is we can put you in a living learning community for forensic science in particular. At UNH, you'll find living learning communities for criminal justice, for legal studies, for different arts and science disciplines, for ROTC. And they're a great opportunity. What you do is you get to live in a cohort in an area of a dorm with freshmen who are seeking your same tracking, and lets you make friends with people that you're going to be in class with for your next 4 years. It gets you tutors available. It gives you your RAs are usually upperclassmen in your majors, so they can kind of give you the advice. Who's good, what's bad, what to do, what not to do. It is it's an awesome idea. For your parents' point of view, it doesn't cost any more money. That's a good thing. And it's just an election you make. The only caveat to that is it's limited enrollments, and they're popular. So this is one of many reasons why I would urge you to apply early at University of New Haven. Take advantage of the early action programs. It's far more for your benefit than it is for us. Again, we are FEPAC accredited. Again, this is the national, and now it's international, accrediting arm of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. At the moment, I sit as the national chair for that program, so I'm deeply ingrained in accreditation issues, and obviously a very, very big supporter of a accredited program, which we are. And you should not be going to school that's not. We have internship opportunities. Let me back up from that a little bit. In the forensic science department, you have something called a Capstone Experience, and this is going to usually occur between your junior and senior year. You must do one of three things: a full-blown thesis, and if you're an honor student, you will do a thesis. That's a very heavily detailed, in-depth research under the auspices and care of a faculty member, and you end up creating a thesis, a real publishable, in many cases, quality report. You can do a research project, which is a little bit less stringent than that, and again, those will be faculty mentored. And your ability to do quality research as an undergraduate is something you shouldn't take lightly, and many schools will reserve that for their graduate school. And yes, we have a graduate program, but we do not discriminate against our undergraduate students, and some of our best research and most innovative projects are done by undergraduates, and of course they're also mentored by faculty members. So if research is important to you, if looking to grad school or medical is important to you, then research should be important to you, and we're a great place to be. Lastly, you could do an internship, and you could do this at a private lab, a government lab. Certainly in forensic science, it's got to be lab-based. If you're in criminal justice and investigative services, maybe you'll work in a crime scene unit for a police department. If you're in legal studies, you'll probably work for a prosecutor's office or a law firm. So you'll work in a professional setting that makes sense for your career goals. And again, it's not just showing up and making coffee and Xerox copies. You must be engaged in active learning. You must be engaged in projects. You're going to do reflective journaling, sometimes write papers related to it. So you'll get a very good experience. We have connections throughout the country, so it really doesn't matter where home is to you. And certainly in forensic science, you're just as likely to be sitting next to a kid from Colorado or California as you are from Connecticut. So there's kids from all over the U.S. here. And when it comes time to get you a job or to get you an internship, we'll send you home. We'll send you where you're comfortable. Again, we talked about research and really neat stuff. It could be DNA related. We actually have a great relationship with Yale Medical School and their Department of Pathology. And they give us 8 slots a year for our most talented undergraduate forensic science students that are interested in forensic pathology. And they will go there for a term, do lots of autopsies, work with the medical staff, and sometimes they'll actually be given a case review. And they'll write up a medical case review in conjunction with the medical staff. This is usually something that's done by residents or interns, last year medical students, and you're learning the skill and getting this opportunity as an undergraduate. Needless to say, it's a huge feather in your cap if you're heading to the competitive world of medical school. Club activity is important. Campus life is important. It's my job as the head of the forensic science department to make sure our curriculum is strong and that we can get you job placement and give you the best possibility for a good future. But I'm also going to tell you that in order for that to be true, you need to be happy. You need to be socially and personally challenged. You need to be in a place that where you can grow and find yourself. And UNH is a great place to do that. It's a really great community. And you'll see that some of the options that you'll have are clubs. So the Forensic Science Club and Chemistry Club, they go to the annual meetings with us. This coming year, they're going to travel. Many of them will travel with us to Seattle, Washington. I think the year after it's Orlando or New Orleans, and some really interesting venues. They have weekly meetings. They hear guest lectures. They work on other projects with faculty members, and then again, they're just a group amongst themselves, learning to do some things together. Sometimes just socialize together. There are other clubs. I've just started one. I'm also chairing human trafficking club. Please. We are not advocating human trafficking. Quite the contrary. And it's open to all disciplines across all grad and undergraduate because of the scope and there's so many different aspects to it. And that club actually is actively involved with some NGO groups doing an actual casework overseas. So sometimes your club activity is far more than just sitting around talking about journal articles or whatever. It's actually getting actively involved in the field. So clubs are key. Athletics, residential life. Take advantage of all of it. This is crazy. You got 4 years to do this. Do it. You know, have fun. Have some fun too. Obviously, all work and no play is not a good thing. I like fun as much as work. So let's talk about our facilities. We first have this great new, fantastic, state-of-the-art Henry Lee Institute, which you'll see when you come in your campus. Again, I encourage you to do that. Inside that is a museum and a public learning area to teach you about forensic science and crime scene analysis. There's also our crime scene training area with both real mock crime scene rooms as well as virtual crime scene labs. In that building, we also have a technology lab where we have some of the most state-of-the-art technology in databasing. You know, we have a firearms database, footwear database, fingerprint database, DNA database. And this is all the exact equipment you will use in a state-of-the-art laboratory. So when you leave us and you go to an employer and they learn what you actually have experience with, that's why you're going to get a job, or you're going to be one of the better candidates because of that. In the Henry Lee building, we also have, we call it Command Center. It allows us to consult live time throughout the world with active crime scenes. We can use all kinds of technology to bring media and video images in, and Dr. Lee, myself, and other staff members will consult and give our advice and best practices to actual live ongoing crime scenes throughout the world. We also have in another building, the entire 4th floor Dodds Hall is dedicated to forensic science, and that's our general lab space. So we have a separate DNA laboratory. We have the data analysis for our DNA laboratory. We have a chemical instrumentation and analysis series of laboratories. We have a separate microscopy laboratory, which includes really high-end instrumentation like a scanning electron microscope and a firearms electronic digital comparative microscope. And then we have general wet labs for the variety of different labs that you're going to be doing in the forensic science program. So we are committed to maintaining our commitment and keeping it current so that when you leave us, we are confident you know how to use the most current platform, and you have more than theory. You have hands-on practical experience. It's a big advantage for you. Here's an example of one of the areas with some of our HPLC, GC mass spec, capillary electrophoresis, X-ray diffraction. If these are terms that you're already familiar with, send me an email. You're automatically admitted, okay? You're clearly ready. If not, don't worry. We'll teach you. This is our DNA analysis. The final output of DNA is spending some time behind a computer, okay? Believe that or not. I know people don't see that on CSI, but it's true. And again, I talked about we have opportunities to do crime scene evidence collection. We don't use real bodies. They kind of frown against that. But we use parts, we use blood, we use hairs, we use tissues, we use fluids, real nasty stuff, and then we use the various objects you might find in a crime scene, and we hit you with the challenge of how do you record it, locate it, document it, package it, preserve it, and then how do you analyze evidence off of it. So we walk you through the whole process before you're done, and then we'll bring you through a moot court session and make sure that you can testify as an expert to what you learned. This is something that separates us from true researchers. Just a couple more photos here of the crime scene component. We also have some really neat toys that are field related. In the upper part of this, you're seeing this woman working on this little tiny instrument, which is a portable FDIR instrument. We could go out to the field and in 10 minutes we'll tell you, hey, that substance, that white stuff, that's anthrax, or that's some chemical or some explosive material. That used to take something the size of a desk and half a day worth of analysis to conduct. We now can do it in a portable environment and do it in 10 minutes. You also see a ground penetrating radar. Hey, we got a new faculty member this year. He comes to us from Oklahoma. He is an anthropologist. For many of you, you're really excited by that. So he brings the external field. And he's also a consultant for the U.S. Wildlife Services Laboratory out in Washington. So we have a whole new offering regarding wildlife analysis and anthropology as something that we are now staffed and ready to incorporate into our curriculum. Here we're using some laser technology for doing shooting case reconstruction. My favorite. That's my professional strength and expertise is that area. We're using alternate light source technology here to find blood or fingerprints, or look for a trace on clothing. That's actually a jacket that was worn by the president of Taiwan when he was shot in an assassination attempt that myself and Dr. Lee were flown over to the country to investigate. Yeah, we have some of the best pot in New England, and we're proud of it. We have a grant. We're working with the DEA and NIDA, and we're studying the marijuana characteristics of marijuana seeds. And from that, we actually can fingerprint a particular marijuana plant and link it back to a particular grower, or show the distribution route for marijuana. So one of our faculty members, Dr. Coyle, she specializes in these non-human or plant-based DNA methodologies. Also on campus, we through the Henry Lee Institute, we do professional training for lab analysts, police officer, crime scene analysts, attorneys. Now, you can, as a student, you will actually be encouraged to attend our annual Arnold Markle conference, which is always a 2-day conference. Unfortunately, it falls usually during your fall break, but maybe you want to stay back and participate. But other offerings are held throughout the year, and as a student, you're eligible to take them at 50% off or more. And even if you do not choose to do that, what it does is it brings professionals to campus, and then we network with those professionals. So when you're ready to do an internship or get a job, we have a personal connection for you. Makes that much easier to do. There's a rendering of our new Henry Lee building. Again, this doesn't do it justice. You need to come. You got to come see it yourself. And again, some crime scene training areas in the new building. Students processing evidence that they took out of these crime scenes, and students working in some general, wet lab environments as well. Again, our faculty have the right credentials. They have PhDs from Yale, from Cornell, from University of Oxford, Penn State. So they're well credentialed, and that's important because this is a college-based program. But they also, without exception, have experience. And most of us, myself included, I was Connecticut's crime lab director. Most of us have bench level, if not managerial, experience in active crime labs. Most of us also have our active consultants. This very morning, before I sat down to do this, I sent in an affidavit to an attorney who is fighting extradition for an individual who's being sought by the Czech Republic for a homicide that he claims he did not do. And they will be arguing his fate tomorrow down in federal court in Alexandria, and decide whether or not our government should turn him over to face murder charges in the Czech Republic. So that's the kind of stuff we work on here, and when we do that, that becomes part of our classroom and our experience, and we let you kind of be part of that with us and learn firsthand what this is really all about. That is our infamous contact. That's Judy Mitchell. She is our department secretary. When you get on campus, she'll call her mom, and she'll help you with all the little incidental stuff that we can't. But you also need to know that the faculty here, we're small enough school that we're engaged with you as students. Teaching is still our primary focus here at this university, although we do research. So your success, our involvement with you are very important to us. You're not an annoyance. You're not just a number. We're very much committed to you and your success. You just need to show up, work hard, promise that you'll work hard, stay engaged, and we'll have a great relationship together. Lastly, let me encourage you. I hope this was just a little bit of a teaser for you. I hope it helps you to ask some good questions of us and other schools. You're about to embark on 4 years of your life and a lot of money. And you need to make the right choice. You need to make the best choice, and you need to do your homework. You need to ask questions. You need to ask tough questions. I think we've answered them for you. If not, I beg you, ask us a tough question. You have the right to do that, and we'll answer it for you. You know, start with your admissions counselor and counselors who are very skilled, and yet they'll be glad to pass on a question that they believe should be handled directly by us. Please also make an opportunity to come here. This is a gorgeous campus. We'd like you to see it. We'd like you to really see our facilities, to meet our faculty, to meet some of our students, and get a sense why this would be a good home for you for the next 4 years. You can go to our webpage through the undergraduate admissions link. You'll see opportunities for open houses, for enhanced visits, and then ultimately accepted student stays. And a lot of our students do all of it. They come to each and every one of these events, and each time they learn a little bit more about this university. So when they actually set foot on campus in the fall, they're really comfortable with who we are and have a good sense of belonging here. But I would really encourage you to make an effort to come here, do this process well, look at your future. Look at what we have to offer, and I'm confident what we can give you is a good college experience and just a first-class, solid forensic science education. So to all of you, whether you're going to be in forensic science, or whether you're going to be in criminal justice or any of our other disciplines, this is a great university. We hope you give it a good look, and I'd love to see you on campus. If I do, come say hi. Thank you. Have a great day.